great. I think the cool thing about that is just you felt the energy in the room, the amount of women sitting in there and so passionate about being a leader in their space, whether it was sport, whether it's business, whatever it is. I think that was what's so cool about it. And obviously getting to sit next to Annika on stage is pretty special for myself. So
watching shadows, it's funny. The WNBA kept telling Caitlin Clark to just focus on basketball and stay in her role. Like she was supposed to be grateful just to be there. Then she goes and picks up a golf club and suddenly everyone's watching her again. No big promotion, no league push. She just walked onto the course, swung, and the whole place locked in on her. People were leaning over ropes. Players were stopping mid-warm-up. It was obvious who the attraction was. And I promise you, somewhere in the WNBA offices, Kathy Engelbert was watching that like, oh great, now she's popular in another sport. Because here's the part nobody in that league really wanted to admit. Caitlin Clark doesn't get attention because she's in the WNBA. The WNBA gets attention because Caitlin Clark is there. And when that attention follows her into golf. Yeah, that's when the panic starts. When Caitlin Clark walked up to that tee box at the LPGA Pro-Am, the atmosphere shifted. People expected something light, maybe a cute moment, a polite swing, applause, done. But her focus said otherwise. The way she set her stance, the calm in her posture. There was intent there. She came to compete. And when that club connected, you could hear it. A clean, sharp sound that made people stop. The ball didn't just fly. It tracked. Straight, controlled, confident. Immediately, heads turned. Pros paused. Spectators murmured. You could see that look, the universal athletic reaction of, oh, she's not just here to take pictures. This is where the conversation changed because Caitlin wasn't playing like a guest. She was performing like an athlete who could excel anywhere she chooses. Her presence didn't just draw attention. It commanded it. Not because of promotional hype, not because of league storytelling, not because of a marketing push, but because she is the draw. And when a star shows that her spotlight travels with her regardless of setting, that's not just impressive, that's leverage. And the LPGA recognized that immediately, which is why they handled her in a way the WNBA still doesn't understand. The LPGA didn't hesitate. They didn't tiptoe. They didn't balance the attention like they were afraid someone might feel overshadowed. They saw Caitlin Clark and understood value. So, they paired her with Nelly Korda, the top golfer in the world. That wasn't random. That was deliberate. They put Caitlin next to the face of their sport because they weren't threatened by her spotlight. They welcomed it. Crowds didn't just watch. They formed lines down the fairway. People were shoulder to shoulder. You could feel the energy, the anticipation, the excitement of something happening that wasn't staged. It was organic, real. And here's the key difference. The LPGA didn't try to minimize her. They didn't try to teach her her place. They didn't try to spread attention evenly. They said, we have a superstar. Let's use that. Meanwhile, back in the WNBA, they acted like her popularity was a problem to manage, not an opportunity to grow. The LPGA didn't just treat her well. They showcased her. They highlighted her. They understood her presence was good for everyone. They leaned in. Because when someone elevates your sport, you don't shrink the moment, you grow with it. So, why didn't the WNBA do that? Well, that brings us to the part Kathy Engelbert definitely does not want to talk about. Caitlin Clark didn't enter the WNBA quietly. She arrived with the most hype the league has seen in decades. The highest ratings, the biggest ticket sales, merchandise flying off shelves, arenas that had never sold out before suddenly looked like playoff crowds. She brought a wave. And instead of surfing it, the league tried to pretend the water was calm. Veteran players were physical with her from day one. Not competitive physical, but targeted physical. Cheap shots, late bumps, full-court harassment, and the league stayed silent. No fines, no statements, no emphasis on protecting the face of the league. Meanwhile, commentary around the league pushed the idea that Caitlin's popularity was overrated, that she wasn't special, that her fans were bandwagon casuals. All while every ticket Caitlin touched instantly sold out. It wasn't just mishandling, it was denial. The league had a cultural phenomenon in its hands and acted like it was a scheduling inconvenience. And Caitlin, she didn't snap back. She didn't complain. She just kept hooping. But the fans noticed, sponsors noticed, executives noticed. So when Caitlin walked into another sport and the LPGA said, "Welcome. We're glad you're here," the contrast couldn't have been louder. And that contrast is exactly what sent Kathy Angelbert into full panic mode. Thousands of miles away, while Caitlin was shining on the golf course, Kathy Angelbert was watching probably refreshing numbers, looking at projections, emailing committee rooms with subject lines like, "We need to discuss optics." Because when the LPGA broadcast numbers jumped, when event attendance spiked, when highlight clips started spreading, not because of golf, but because Caitlin Clark was there, it hit Kathy like a surprise mid-season salary cap review. Caitlin's star power does not belong to the WNBA. It belongs to the audience. And the worst-case scenario for a commissioner, the audience realizing they don't need your league to see the player they love. Sponsors started asking questions like, "Can we activate Caitlin without the WNBA involved? Can we run dual sport campaigns? Can we shift spend toward golf?" That's right, there is the true panic trigger because the WNBA hasn't just been using Caitlin's star power. They've been depending on it. And dependency without control, that's a commissioner's nightmare. Suddenly, Kathy's entire balance the spotlight approach started to look less like leadership and more like fear. Fear of a reality where the biggest revenue driver the league has ever had doesn't need the league. Meanwhile, in the golf world, Caitlin was being treated like she belonged there, and that matters more than most people realize. On that golf course, Caitlin wasn't the target. She wasn't the storyline people argued about. She wasn't the rookie who needs to earn it. She was an athlete among athletes. Nelly Corder didn't see Caitlin as competition for attention. She saw her as a partner in elevating the moment. Players laughed with her. They offered tips. They welcomed her into their space. No jealousy, no side eye, no prove you belong here energy. It was respect by default. And you could see the difference in Caitlin's shoulders, her expressions, the ease in her posture. She looked like someone who could finally exhale. Compare that to the WNBA season where every game felt like a trial. Hard fouls, dismissive commentary, constant undercutting of her impact in golf. Caitlin didn't have to fight for space. She didn't have to justify her presence. She didn't have to shrink to make others feel comfortable. She was allowed to shine naturally. And when an athlete feels appreciated, understood, and genuinely welcomed, they don't forget that. And just when it seemed like things couldn't escalate more, one person entered the picture who changed everything. Then came the invitation, not from just anyone, from Michael Jordan. Not just the greatest basketball player ever, but the blueprint for how to turn athletic excellence into generational influence. Jordan invited Caitlin to Grove 23 as private course, the place where champions, investors, ownership figures, and power brokers meet. If the LPGA event was a spotlight, Grove 23 is the boardroom. You don't get invited there because you're popular. You get invited because you're significant. Jordan saw what the WNBA refused to acknowledge. Caitlin Clark is not just a high-scoring guard. She's a cultural force. And the best part, Jordan didn't just play golf with her. He talked to her about longevity, about brand power, about controlling your image instead of letting others control it for you. And somewhere Kathy Angelbert probably whispered into a meeting room, "She's slipping away." Because when Michael Jordan validates your path, you don't stay small. But Jordan wasn't the only one who noticed. Business leaders did, too. Caitlin's crossover impact sent a message corporate sponsors understand immediately. This is not a league-driven star. This is a consumer-driven star. That distinction changes everything. When a league creates a star, the league controls their value. But when the public creates a star, the league just tries to keep up. Nike golf marketing firms, event organizers, they saw Caitlin's Pro-Am impact and started discussing multiport positioning. Not Caitlin Clark, WNBA guard. But Caitlin Clark, global sports figure, that's Serena-level positioning. That's Tiger-level positioning. That's Naomi Osaka-level influence potential. And the WNBA didn't build that. Caitlyn did. Which means she can take it anywhere. This is where sponsors start asking a dangerous question. What happens if Caitlyn spends more time in golf? Because the answer is the audience follows her. Not the league, not the broadcast deals, her. And that reality makes one rivalry look very different. Because while Caitlyn was expanding her universe, someone else was watching closely and reacting emotionally. Angel Reese didn't need a press conference or a microphone to react. You could see it in the timing, in the tone, in the way she tried to insert herself into a moment that wasn't hers. While Caitlyn was building relationships with legends, Angel was watching shadows, measuring attention, trying to keep pace in a race she wasn't trained for. This is the difference. Caitlyn builds quietly. Angel responds loudly.